Welcome to the Security Cocktail Hour. I'm Joe Patty.
I'm Adam Roth.
Adam, how are you doing today? I see you've got the background. For once, I've got the shirt on and you don't, but you do have the background.
Well, I know sometimes people can't tell us apart, so if I wear this shirt, people will think we're twins.
Yeah, I know. And when you do those cartoons on LinkedIn and in social media, I'm not really that gray, am I?
Well, I use ChatGPT to make me look better and you look worse.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Well, anyway, we have someone who is a lot younger than both of us, actually, but knows a hell of a lot more about a bunch of things than we do.
That goes to show you, Joe, we're
We're
AI
out of
is taking
touch.
over. Yeah, we're out of touch, Joe. We might as well just wrap it up, move to
Uh,
Florida or something.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. But we have someone who's going to educate all of us on a bunch of stuff. Yevheniia Broshevan. Yev, hi, welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here.
No, we're glad you can make it. So, you're a little sort of famous. You are one of Forbes's 30 under 30, which is like very cool. And I mean, we talked about this. I looked at that and it said, you're in the 30 under 30 and you've been into crypto since 2014 and all. And I said to myself, did you start when you were 5? I mean, like, what's the deal?
Yeah, actually, I started like working in crypto since 2014 when I was the second year of my education. I studied cybersecurity, so it was kind of natural, because originally for me, crypto was for cryptography rather than for cryptocurrency. And I know for a lot of people, crypto is cryptography. And probably in these circles is also the same, right?
Yeah, that word has changed. That's right. When people say crypto now, they mean cryptocurrency, not, cryptography is too hard, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, especially when everyone wants to be rich fast with crypto, and then just a lot of disappointment and lost money.
Yeah, that's right. Well, people, I'm in cybersecurity will sometimes say, oh, what should I do with cryptocurrency? Should I buy it? And I say, I know security. I don't know currency speculation. Those are two different things. But
Yeah,
maybe we'll learn it right here. That'll be cool.
It's funny when you say that, right, Joe? I spoke to my friend Peter last night, the one that's supposed to come on the show. He said we snubbed him. That's another story. And then he said
Yeah,
we
we
never got
snubbed.
he said we never got back to him. I was like, be quiet, Peter. But we had a whole conversation. He's so knowledgeable about XPS. But then I started saying, well, what about your cousin who's an economist? He goes, economists know nothing about crypto. They can't do any of that. He goes, crypto's crypto, economist is economist. So we have this false impression that people should know what crypto is and how it relates to currency and money, but it's really not true.
yeah, that's true. Because if we look at cryptocurrency, there is two components here. There is part of finance and part of technology. So originally, when I started, this was more about the technology itself, right? And when we were like, where it was escalating quickly, especially in 2017 with the boom of ICO, initial coin offering, when people were launching their crypto tokens, right? Everyone heard about that. But like in a lot of circles, it's still about speculation, something illegal, like paying in crypto for drugs or something else, right? But if we look at the other side of the coin regarding technology, it's totally different story. But I think media is more attracted to this kind of stories when something went bad rather than like saying about technology and its benefits. So that's why we have this like wrong impressions. And of course, we had so many scam stories in this industry for like last 10 years.
Yeah, and yeah, he was saying he's like Adam. He goes, what you're not realizing is XPS is not only a crypto, but it's also a protocol. And he goes, and when the U.S. because he's speculating that eventually XPS will move into one of the mechanisms or vehicles to move money, um, and this will be the way that currency is moved a lot easier worldwide in order to resolve some currency issues and some debt. So he went into a whole speculation, and I sat there, and whatever hair I had left fell out of my head. But the point I guess I'm making is that people don't realize that crypto is not it's just not like you're buying a painting, you're buying a sofa, buying cryptocurrency. is more than just purchasing something. It's a methodology into one non-repudiation of where that coin sits on the blockchain and then on that ledger, and also about how to move currency in large amounts between countries and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. If we look at the, you're talking about currencies right now, but if we look at the market of real estate, for example, you probably guys heard about real world assets and tokenization of like real world assets.
Yes.
That's exactly what you're referring to. So it's not only about the finance itself, but it's like about assets and moving assets like globally across countries.
Okay, so you got to explain that because I could say I'm going to play the person who doesn't know anything, but I really don't. In fact, I think you'd said we're not supposed to call it crypto anymore. It's digital assets now.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have real estate, I mean real estate, at least in English, the word itself is real estate, something real. So how do we tokenize real world stuff? How does that work?
Yeah, so the change in the industry happening recently because before it was kind of non-licensed activities. We had like digital currencies, but the cryptocurrencies was like for a long time without proper definition in all countries and accepted globally. Even now, we can see that it's called different in different jurisdictions. For example, in the US, it's digital assets. In Europe, it's virtual assets. Somewhere else, it has different names. But in the end of the day, it's about the like any assets on chain. There is off chain and on chain. And what you're talking about, real estate, this is a part of off chain, which is not happening on like any like blockchain protocol, let's call it like that.
Oh, so off chain. I think back in the 90s, that's what we used to call the meat space, the real world. Uh, is that what we're calling it now? Oh, God, you haven't even heard that. Oh, boy. Wow, now I feel
Yes.
old. Okay.
What's
The meat space, where we're,
like
real
real life,
people,
real
with
life.
flesh and meat and that kind of thing. Not like avatars and stuff. Oh, God. Wow. Okay.
Real life.
Real life, like IRL. Does anyone still
Exactly.
say that? I don't know.
Well,
IRL.
IRL was like a big term, and we were still old when we heard IRL. So, IRL might have been like 2 generations ago. Joe, I keep
Yeah, that's.
reminding myself how old
I
we are.
know. We're 2 generations back. Oh
Well,
boy. Okay, I
let
gotta
me
pay
just say this.
attention here.
Let me just say this,
Where the hell is my money? Now I'm getting scared. I don't
Joe.
know.
Let's just say this. AOL. Let's talk about our life and history and technology. AOL just retired. If Yev even knows what this is, I'll be surprised. The dial-up modem service.
I haven't used it. I
That's
heard.
how long. That's how old we are, Joe. We started
I
using.
know, but I read that and I couldn't believe they still had it because I don't know if you can even buy a modem anymore. I mean, God, find it at a junk pile in a show or something. But
So that
but
goes to show
anyway,
you, yeah, we definitely, there's a lot to learn, and unfortunately for us, people like Yev, are going to know 10 times more of the amount of stuff than we will. And it's just, we're like kids in the candy store, Joe. We're trying to eat technology and cryptocurrency and, AI, and it's just too much. That's why I probably need to lose more weight.
You know,
well, okay.
to see that how in this specific industry it's like never enough what you know. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that like whatever you learned in your university doesn't make sense anymore, right? The speed of technology and cybersecurity of this technology is developing that fast that you need just like literally be up to date every day. And in our sphere in like crypto, it's like literally a couple of hacks every day happening, and you're always learning like what was the mistake there, how you can prevent this in the future for our customers. So it's like never ending story, and it's like 24/7 for sure.
Okay, so now we're getting into what you actually do these days. So
Okay.
hacks against crypto, which is um, getting your money stolen, basically. If you have money in crypto, I heard the story, and it's been going on for a while. It's the guy who had, I guess this wasn't a theft, but it's the guy who had hundreds of millions of dollars or something on a hard drive, and he threw it out by
Yeah,
accident.
yeah, we were just talking
And
about
the
that.
guy, I
Yeah.
think it's in Britain or something, and he like wants
Yes.
to buy the landfill that he threw it
Yes.
in and hire people to comb through it. I don't think that's your end of the business doing that, right?
Sure. You know, we're like on the part on the part of this chain. We so what we do at Hacken, we help companies to prevent risks which comes to application security mostly. So we do like penetration testing, audit, source code reviews of all this like crypto tokens, blockchain protocols, crypto exchanges, wallets. So all that you can think about when you say crypto, there is like technology behind that, teams and products, and that's like what we help them to protect.
I, I definitely got two questions now. Yeah, now you're getting me all excited and everything. You do these pen tests. One, the first question is, are these pen tests that you're doing, are there any type of legal, legitimate, when I say legitimate, it's not to take away from what you do, but frameworks that they get certificates or they get certifications? Because I don't even know anything about this. I mean, I know like the ISO 17799 and all that stuff. And then the other question I have for you is, you ever do a pen test and then find out, uh-oh, because I've seen this before, I've heard this before about IRLs in real life, that as they're doing these pen tests, they find out, oh, the person really does have a threat actor on their, and I don't even know how to phrase this, on their network, on their blockchain, on their whatever it is.
Yes, definitely there are different layers of security, right? There is organizational security, but like security on the policy level, the ones you're referring to. And in our specific industry, we also called it three, like called crypto is Web 3.
Oh yeah, Web3. That's the
Yeah, we have
extra
many
cool name.
names. We have many
That
names
does.
for everything going around. So we don't have like much standards yet, but we have many like working groups that are trying to do that. Of course, we have some stuff in OWASP, which comes to like traditional web, mobile, and like crypto stuff. Also, we have another consortium. It's called Crypto Consortium C4, which works on different standards for key management, and they have a cryptocurrency security standard. I was on the council there, like contributing to the standard itself. So this is one of the initiatives. There's like a couple more working on that. Another one called in Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, they have East Trust, the one connected to smart contract security and smart contract vulnerability
Yeah.
and procedures that you need to follow to to prevent the risks. So we don't have still ISO stuff here. It's not also PCI DSS, nothing connected to that, because we have specific type of technology here when it comes to like smart contracts and blockchain protocols and nodes and consensus mechanisms and cryptography between all this stuff inside. So we need to have special checks, special rules, special methodology and tools that we need to go through while we are doing penetration tests. So you can think about that as the small industry in the bigger industry of source code review. There are different type of like code, right? And in crypto we have our like special one. So that's what.
Do you go ahead? I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, we should probably give it a little context. We started talking about a lot of things, and I'm wondering if someone listening said, "Okay, we're talking about crypto. I don't get this," but then you start talking about things that are very familiar to security people, and we should probably say, in case it's not totally obvious, but all this crypto stuff, it uses software. It's all computed. It's all based on software. So when you say you're doing a pen test, you're actually testing the software that
Yes.
runs this stuff, that holds it, that implements all these fancy protocols, and it's a lot of application security basically. And if it's not working right, or someone can hack into it, you can be in a world of hurt. I mean, it is stealing money directly, essentially.
And that's the question I have. Like Yev, I'm exactly like Joe. Like I sound like I knew what I was talking about in the beginning because I heard 5 minutes from your friend. So I try to impress people at parties as if I know something about it. And then I'm gonna start telling people I know you, Yev. But that being said, it's like really complicated because we talk about cryptocurrency, we talk about currency, but what people don't realize, especially me, is that that cryptocurrency has a technology that has a blockchain, and that blockchain has a ledger, and that ledger you can't pull anything out of the middle because then that hash changes, if I understand correctly, as it goes up, and that ledger is also used for formalizing contracts to be signed. So while you have cryptocurrency, you also have a protocol, I guess, if you want to call it, and that protocol follows that chain. And that chain, you want to make sure nobody is able to manipulate that chain, so in such a way that they pull something out of the ledger and keep on changing those hashes to make it seem like that ledger has not been altered. Does that sound right, or am I just off base?
Exactly. So what you're referring to, so that's why I mentioned there is like two sides of the coin, right? So we have technology and finance.
By the way, that's good. You say there's two sides of the coin. We're talking about
Yeah, good.
Oh, that was a good.
cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's going to be
Well done.
we're going to take that and make it a short.
Yeah, that's going to be excellent. Cool. Good idea.
Yeah, so when it comes to technology itself, it's definitely about what you just discussed, Adam, regarding the protocol and how there is a consensus between this decentralized infrastructure and nodes, how they're communicating securely between each other, and how on top of these blockchains, there are like smart contracts deployed that operates, on this protocol itself. So yes, definitely. And definitely it's a like complex system and technology that we do security for.
Okay, so that's really important because it is complex. It's complex software that's running all this. You want it to have vulnerabilities and run it correctly. And, I think many of us know who've been in security for a while that cryptography software in general is one of the most difficult types of software to implement correctly. It's a lot of math, it's a lot of random number generation and all these things. And, mistakes are really common. In fact, you often tell people when you're in application security, don't do anything with cryptography unless you're an expert. Right. Don't make up your own. Don't think you can be clever. Don't think you're such a good coder you can
Yeah.
do it. It's
Yeah.
really a specialty. So what are you finding? Is you got a unique thing that you actually look at these codes. Are you? And I'm not going to ask you to call out anything, but I mean, generally speaking, are you finding the code that you're looking at is very good quality? Nothing's perfect, and they
But
find a
Joe, that's
mistake.
why.
But is it generally good quality, or do you regularly see stuff when you say, "Oh my God, I want to put $10 in here"?
Yeah, don't answer that. Yeah, because Joe, that's why. That's why, Joe. That's why
We
she's
got to get
30.
controversial.
No,
Come
no,
on.
no, 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 no. I wanted to answer it, but don't answer it yet. That's why Yev is 30 under 30 because she catches all this crap. This is this.
Yeah, I
So
guess
so
so.
that's the answer to the question. First of all, by virtue of what Yev does and by virtue of Yev's company name, she should be wearing a black hoodie with only her eyes showing. That's what people are going to imagine about Yev. She looks like a sweet woman and everything else, but Yev is like a piranha, man. She's like going after code, telling people, listen, this is wrong, get your shit together, excuse my language, but that's who Yev is. Okay, I'm sorry, go answer.
Yeah, it's like like how hackers look like, right, in the reality. But let's be honest, it's not the case anymore.
No, I know.
Yeah, and definitely we're on the white side of the business. We're ethical hackers, and I'm an ethical hacker myself. Even I was certified ethical hacker by ECCON still some time ago. But definitely, so that's what we do. We spot this kind of vulnerabilities in the systems, and like for 8 years, we had like over 2,000 different clients, and I don't know how many lines of code we audited, but definitely a lot. And when it comes to quality, of course, starting in this industry that long time ago, because this industry is relatively new, and like everything we built almost from scratch. All the tools, all the standards, methodology,
Wow.
Because there's
because
nothing there, right? It's all
Yeah,
new.
right.
exactly. And that's why when you Adam asking me about the standards, it's hard because like how many years it took to build like
Well,
all the security standards.
I knew the answer to that. I just wanted you to say it, but yeah, let me two things, Joe. One, yeah, let's spend 5 minutes and interview us both. We're looking for a job right now. And number two, Yev, I wanted Joe, you and I, by the time we're done, we could be Forbes 100 under 100 when we learn all this stuff. I was joking Yev about the job, but the point I'm making is it's so, and I don't just say this to say this, but it's such an interesting place to be. And I'm in a class right now, and I'm constantly doing things about ethical AI, and I realize I know nothing about AI. I mean, I know enough to know I say I know something, but when I speak to people like you, and I'm not looking to like butter you up, I realize the plethora of knowledge. It's like someone hiring me to do incident response or do pen testing. I know, I mean, I got SANS certifications and certified ethical hacker certifications, but that doesn't make me an expert. You know, hands the keyboard is where it's at. And it seems like you've been doing this since like you're 4 years old. So all good. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you really got a breadth of knowledge for a new technology, and it's amazing.
Yeah, well, what Adam is saying is when it goes to cocktail parties, he's either going to have to learn more or become a better con man, like Frank
That's true.
Abagnale or
That's true.
something,
I'm a
you
good
know?
con man now, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you know that's why this industry is moving fast, because we need to learn fast on our mistakes to prevent the future stuff. Because if we look at this year's statistics, we lost 3 billion in like digital asset space just by now. And the last year, whole year was around 2.5 billion, I think, something like that. So we're
Okay,
like progression. We're not
okay,
getting
so
better.
so how are those losses happening? What are the big real threats? Because I've heard people say, don't leave your crypto wallet on a machine that's on the internet. So is it bad operational stuff, bad passwords, exposing things, or is it code quality, vulnerabilities? What should you be most worried about if you're going to hold some of this stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So we do like a quarterly reports on the losses in the industry and the hack cases. And the statistics we see is that the majority of hacks and incidents are connected to access control issues. So it's like private key leakage, as just like losing access to your crypto. So literally, the biggest hacks was regarding the private keys and signing transactions, like malicious signing of the transactions.
Hmm.
Ooh,
So this the majority, and it comes to operational security, right? So it's not application security. And when you're asking about smart contracts, of course, there are like still the chunk of vulnerabilities that leads to this hacks. But honestly, it's still more operational security issues here.
Find that so interesting because I've said for years, people have known for years it's about key management and everything. That's the real threat. People really don't try to beat the encryption or anything. It's too hard. And like, the old military thing, they say, amateurs study tactics and, experts study logistics. I've always said with crypto, amateurs study like, math when they're trying to break it, but experts study, operational security and key management. That's really where things go south. So
so
that's still true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
true.
yeah, check this out. I used to work for Joe, and Joe loved when I worked for him. He was like one of the
That was
happiest
the,
guys
the
in the world.
time of my life.
So when I used to work for Joe, one of the things that we were heavily involved in is that we were talking about the whole thing about bring your own key, have your own key, the keys on premise, and everything else. And that seems to be somewhat similar to like, do you really want your key to be on premise? But at the same time, if your key's not on premise, then people have a way to get your key without you knowing. And that goes for everything from blind subpoenas to hackers and everything else. But I'll tell you a really quick story. One of my friends, I used to work for the city of New York, nothing to do with technology, and I worked with a law enforcement agent. And he called me up out of nowhere, and I don't normally hear from him, but I love him and everything else, and we're good friends. And he goes, Adam, I have a question for you. Well, my brother-in-law, he lost all somebody called him up and said to him that he had to do this. He was from like, I don't want to say the name of the company, and he had to log in because there was an issue with his account. So he logged into something. He must have given his password and username out. They went into his crypto account and cleared him out. So I always look at that layer 8, that vulnerable layer of the person sitting behind the chair, as the operational issue. And I always say that about everything. Like we can, people steal code and people hack code and everything else. But at the end of the day, the most vulnerable thing out there is a human layer.
Exactly. I mean, it's still a same in crypto. We're not special with it's still operated by human. And the amount of phishing and scams in this industry is like really really high. The like this year is a big topic on the phishing through different like attachments and like downloadable scripts, because So as industry growing, we have like more fresh people coming, right? And you need to educate people, and cybersecurity awareness is a big topic, especially because if you look at the banks and the crypto industry is different. Everything happening right away, and there is no central party to cancel this transaction, right? Like it can happen in banks. So you can call to support, right? They might do something with that. In crypto, it's not. When it's gone, it's gone. You cannot do much about that. And that's the problem because people are still the new people coming are still in the like old mindset, but here things work differently. Literally, like when you own your keys, you own your crypto, right? So it's your responsibility to make sure that you secured like your wallet, your digital wallet. So that's why stuff can go really really bad here, and people are still the weakest chain as everywhere.
And the irony today is that the whole entire thing about crypto is when you have your own key, that's the most positive part. You own that key. It like there's nothing on the blockchain that I mean, I know people can try to follow you on the blockchain and see where that currency was when you pay ransomware, but at the end of the day, the most positive part of having the cryptocurrency is the vulnerability itself. It's like a two-way thing, because if you lose your key, it's gone. But at the end of the day, no one else has your key ever, so they can't do anything with it. It's like a catch-22. The whole idea behind that is that there's no centralization, but because there's no centralization, there's no way to reverse that transaction.
Yeah, exactly. That's why if we look at the total supply, I don't know, Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else, there is a percentage of the crypto that lost forever. And it's quite significant, like the friend you described. I'm pretty sure we have more and more stories like that.
So there's a percent, I never thought about this. There's a percentage that's lost forever.
Yes.
So,
And the supply is limited. That's most
right.
important. Why, the cost of it is like really increasing dramatically because you can't get more. This
It's
is
supply and
You know,
demand.
you know what that makes me think of? Okay, I know how we're going to make a fortune. We're going to do the Goldfinger attack for crypto. We're going to
She isn't
find
no
a way to
Goldfinger.
have you ever seen Goldfinger? It's a James Bond movie. Okay, all right. So here it is. My era, we watch a lot of James Bond,
I
Menti.
mean,
So
But I don't.
wait. Do you know James
Adam
Bond at
thinks
all?
he's James Bond.
No, I wish I was, but do you ever watch James Bond at all, Yev?
Yes, of course.
Okay, this is a very important question, and this is going to define
Oh
our
God.
friendship and our relationship here. Who is your favorite James Bond?
Like old one or new one or what?
You pick. Your choice.
What we are choosing from?
Any James Bond that's ever
All of them.
existed.
Except George Lazenby. You forget about him. So,
I'd probably prefer the like later movies.
Okay, but which one? Do you know which? Oh, yeah, am I putting you
oh
on the
no.
spot?
I don't have this on top of my mind, the exact names.
Okay, because I've caused a lot of controversy in places I've worked, and on the internet, where I'm like everyone's like Sean Connery. I'm like, no, not Sean Connery. But I love Sean Connery. But since we're talking about James Bond, I wanted to get your feel on who your favorite was. But we can move on. Let's go, Joe. Sorry.
Go ahead, you can say it. You think Daniel Craig is the best. I
Daniel
know.
Craig
I've
is the
heard it a
best. We
million
know that.
times, and
Daniel
everyone knows it's
Craig.
Sean Connery. So,
Daniel Craig
give
is
it
the
up.
best. Look, we've gotten into arguments with coworkers and people in higher levels about this. I've started controversial like discussions at work over this.
Oh, sorry, I googled now, so I definitely love Jane Craig.
Oh, gee, thanks. Okay. Well, anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, Goldfinger, one of the classic movies, which was with Sean Connery, the true James Bond, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
Goldfinger's scam was he owned all this gold. He earned this huge stockpile. So he said, gold is hard to steal, whatever. So he goes and he says his trick is he's going to go to Fort Knox, where they've got, the biggest supply of gold in the world, and like detonate a nuclear bomb there, not to like a dirty bomb, not to blow it up, but to make all that gold radioactive. So his gold would be more valuable. I'm thinking someone's going to do the same thing for cryptocurrency, just make a lot of it disappear, and then the value of the rest will go up, especially if it's
So
limited supply.
for his crypto to disappear, like
No, but I mean, if you held a lot, I mean, if you make someone else's, not your own, if you make the rest disappear,
So
I'm telling you,
listen to
that's going to be
wait,
Bond 26.
wait,
Just
listen
wait.
listen to my friend last night. I don't know much about this. He's like, Adam, when the 21th millionth coin from Bitcoin is found, there'll be no more Bitcoin, and that's it. So everything, so these algorithms eventually will deplete whatever coins are left, and that's what's going to happen. And when you lose the key, if you had $10 million in Bitcoins in that key, that's in the ether. You'll never see it again. You've actually reduced the amount of Bitcoin, but increased your value because nobody else has it.
You've reduced the money supply. You've created deflation or whatever. Anyway, so
95% of total Bitcoin possible issued by now. So we have 5% left.
how much is it estimated is lost? Do you know?
Let's check how
Let's
much
see.
Bitcoin is lost.
I had like
Okay, it says 11 to 18%.
11
yeah,
to 18%
yes,
is
yeah.
lost.
Yeah,
Wild.
looks like
Huh.
it's 4 million BTC
And it's not
A
stolen;
lot.
it's lost.
lost.
Yeah, lost means like people had it in their Bitcoin wallet. So my friend said to me, Adam, he goes, back in the day when I had Bitcoin, he had like over 100 coins, I think, and he had it when it was less than $1 each. And he turned in his computer. He goes, Adam, there was no hardware wallets back then, or any. He goes, I lost it based on software. It's gone. I don't. It was in a file. He goes, I'll never get it again. I can't cry about it. Now he goes, I'll make my money with XPS. That's what he said. So it's pretty funny.
Okay. So don't lose it. So what if you're going to hold it? I mean, what are the best practices? And I mean, do you even advocate it, or is it what's the conventional wisdom? Is it that yes, you hold it yourself and take care of your keys and everything, which a lot of people can't do, or you're better off letting a service do it and trusting them because you can't even trust yourself? I mean, what's the current thinking on that?
It's a good question. I think diversification is really important here. So a lot of people store their crypto on like their non-custodial wallets or custodial wallets or like crypto exchanges or hardware wallets. So there's different types of that stuff. I remember back in the days there were like I think it was called paper wallets when you have your seed phrase on paper.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done that. I've actually printed the phase out, put it on a piece of paper, and put it in a safe. So I had the string of stuff. But here's the
Oh,
problem, Yev.
you made me feel old. I thought you were talking about cash, like with actual money in it. I mean, I've
No,
got that,
Joe.
but okay.
So Yev, so hardware has an MTBF, mean time between failure. That means every piece of hardware will fail. Even humans will fail. There's a certain percentage of time where we know 100% a human's going to fail. So even hardware, if you put your stuff on a hardware wallet, what do? Make two wallets? Because eventually that hardware is going to fail.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you diversify and like distribute your assets to different type of places where you can store it and diversify vendors and everything. So I don't know, like in crypto, you can put everything in one pocket, right?
Just give it to Yev. She'll hold it for us.
Yeah,
Okay, so
honestly, the like there were this should be probably statistics where people store their crypto. I'm pretty sure that a lot of them on crypto exchanges. Let me like
I'm sure they do because people not only can't do it correctly, they don't even know what to do. I'm sure people can't use a password manager. They're going to put
Well,
their
it's
life
funny you said that,
savings or
Joe.
something.
And that's the other issue, Yev. People might have stuff in a certain base wallet. Let's just leave the whole name out. They put their stuff in a base wallet. They have multi-factor authentication. They leave the stuff in there, and they put their password and username in LastPass. I shouldn't say LastPass, but because there was a vulnerability in LastPass, I'm not going to lie to you. I've used LastPass before. Everything's going to be hacked. Everything's going to be compromised. It's only a matter of when and where. And my point I'm making is, if you put your stuff into a currency application that trades and holds your value, but then you put your password into a password manager, somebody is able to compromise the password manager. They compromise your currency account. There's no perfect utopian way to store this money. So unless you're doing cash in your safe, that's like fireproof. Because even in your local place, people do that. And then if you're walking down the street in Manhattan and you know to have a lot of money, and then they kidnap you and tie you up in an apartment and torture you, they're gonna get that money anyway. That
yeah.
happened, Joe. You didn't know about that story?
But that is true.
Well, I
There
know
is
people get kidnapped. Yeah, I mean,
this year.
No,
It's
no, it's happened, Joe. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, it's crazy. This year, I think there are more than 30 crypto people was kidnapped, officially
Yes,
reported, because they have.
that
I'd
happened to.
heard, but that many? Like 30?
Yeah, Joe, are you
It's
kidding
like
me?
officially reported, you know, but
Unofficially.
it was a big story, especially with the guys from Ledger, the like cold wallet, if you heard about them. So they were like kidnapped, and his family was kidnapped in France. So that's it's going big, you know. You need to protect not only online but offline as well.
Joe, it's vast. It's violence as a service.
Yeah, violence as a service. Well, it's the old rubber hose attack, basically. All these
Oh, I've never
things
gotten hit with a rubber hose, so
work.
stop that, Joe.
Please, you're from Brooklyn. Come on. Yes, you have. I don't know. No, but it's true, and it is interesting. I guess people, and this gets a little, well, it does get beyond technology. That's the thing. I guess they don't realize that they've never been rich or something. That all of a sudden, if you have tens of millions of dollars, yeah, people might, it's not just hackers coming after you. It's people going to come after your family. I know
And
kidnapping is a really big deal.
and that's the
You know,
problem with cryptocurrency as well, Joe, right? It's at the end of the day, it's back to layer eight. Even though we were talking about layer eight compromising somebody from like phishing them, I mean, if you have tens of millions of dollars in cryptocurrency, people are going to know that, Joe. They're going to know that, whether it's somebody that works internally for an organization that manages that money, they're going to tell somebody, they're going to wait for you outside your apartment, they're going to say, give me your keys and give me everything, your password and username. It's really scary these days because it's really no different from the guy back in the day, Joe, you and I, we knew people who were jewelers and they used to bring home jewelry to their house. They put it in their wall safe and people would break into their house and tie them up and take their jewelry. Now it's all virtual, but physical access to the people.
well, you can do the same thing, I guess,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yeah, yeah, it's like
Okay.
I'm never coming on this podcast again.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to bleep out some of the words you said. The algorithm doesn't like that. So don't be insulted. Okay. Let's get things a little lighter. Okay, so yeah, if you look at a lot of code, that's what you do, a lot of these things. I mean, have you had any like, oh my God moments? I mean, because it's not just like, oh, this application has a vulnerability or something. It's like tens, hundreds of millions of dollars are suddenly, really exposed. I mean,
yeah,
it sounds like
definitely.
you've come across that stuff, but how prevalent is it? Is that
I mean,
thing?
it's getting a bit better. So we look at the code at two different perspectives. First, we do security audits internally, so we have like security researchers internally and do kind of consulting business. And also we have a platform, bug bounty platform called Hacken,
Oh,
where we have the community of ethical hackers around like probably around 50K by now. So where we utilize this, crowdsourced power and mind to find the vulnerabilities. And the bug bounties in crypto space is way higher than in Web 2. I remember, I think it
I'll,
was.
I'll bet because yeah, it's not like you get the exploit or the vulnerability. You got to figure out how to sell it.
Yeah,
If you hack it, you got the money, right?
like another problem, how would you use it then? But it's a totally different story because it's not that easy anymore uh, to use these stolen assets because crypto exchanges and centralized places will just block them and like blacklist, and it will be hard to do something with that. But if we look at the like market of bug bounties, usually it's like 5 to 10% of
oh,
the potential loss. And one of the stories is like bug bounties, for example, 6 million when it was 300 million at risk. So definitely, bug bounties is a good is a good stuff in crypto in terms of the money you can get. But honestly, the industry practice here is 10% of the potential loss, and the losses usually are quite high. That's why we have, there's multiple layers of security with the internal auditing and then kind of external crowdsourced audits when like all hackers from all over the world can like attack the protocol and legally help them and get their money as the bounty.
so yeah,
Wow. So we got to give this a little context of, a bug bounty is when an ethical hacker finds a vulnerability and then they give it to a company, and the company they offer things that, depending on how severe it is, they give them, some money, and like they do with browsers and a lot of other things. But like with that, 100,000 for something really critical is a lot. That's a huge one. But
100,000,
$6 million? Oh
yeah, 100,000 is not huge. It's a kind of normal, but when we come, we can talk to. I think the biggest bounty is around 10 million for some
in
protocols and exchanges.
in
Uh,
crypto, you mean?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
So
The
Wow.
impact is high.
That's
I got a
another
yes no.
world.
I got a yes no question for you. You don't have to answer. Have you ever, like, cashed in on a bug bounty like that?
Me personally,
Yeah.
no, of course no.
I'm
I, I,
surprised.
I create environment for others
I
to.
know, I get it, but you know what? Think about it this way. You're not doing anything unethical, and you could be living, you can be living probably very well for the rest of your life if you're able to find that because of your expertise. But I have another question for you, Yev, and please don't be insulted. You're a young lady. You look very young. You're a CEO of a company. You're Forbes 30 under 30. When you walk into a boardroom or to a CEO, do they respect you the way you feel that you should be respected? Are they like, or like, you'll go back outside and go to the park or something like that? And I know that sounds a little bit demeaning, but people, unfortunately, they don't understand that sometimes youth is better than people our age because you had that new experience versus Joe and I are still trying to use dial-up modems.
Honestly, I had something like that before in my career when I was a student because I started to work in this industry quite early. I think I was 19 or something. And of course, like coming to clients or clients' calls, they were like not expecting anything from me because I'm just, young student. But it's always good to surprise people that you know
God
something
bless you.
and you
Yeah,
can
really.
help them. But as for like now and the current experiences, I don't have this anymore
God
because
bless.
um, when we're even talking about like crypto and digital assets, now these two worlds are trying to emerge because now we can discuss digital assets on the government level, like all this new initiatives from the president. Of course, it's getting, it's kind of merging these two completely different worlds from guys from Wall Street in suits and crypto people in hoodies and flip-flops. Of course, there's like two different mindsets, are totally different, and now we need to find the common ground how to make it happen because we see this is already happening, and it's super interesting to be a part of this. That's why I would say I'm kind of already old for this because a lot.
She's like a gymnast. Once you're at 18 or 19 years old, like
Yeah,
a
that's it.
gymnast,
You're done.
yeah.
Because there are lots of people like making really strong businesses in this area from they are like 20 to 25 ish. Of course, like when you're maturing and scaling, there are other people coming, but this genius ideas are usually somewhere in this. Okay, let's say 20 to 30 range. I turned 30 this year, so I'm not in this category anymore.
Yes. Now I feel better.
So
Thank
now,
God.
so she can't claim the 30 under 30 anymore. Thank God.
Right.
I did it
Okay.
before.
That's right. Well, I got to tell you, I've spent many years working on Wall Street. And yes, they can be very insular and not take people seriously and not be the nicest people in the world. But the one thing they understand is money. And when someone makes money for them, a lot of money, uh, they
Yes,
can put up with
best
a lot.
friend.
And there are guys who've done like, high frequency trading and all sorts of
Oh,
stuff. And they can go into a boardroom in flip flops and, and they're tolerated. You know.
Exactly, that's what's happening. That's what I've seen in bug bounty industry and crypto industry as well. Because a lot of my friends, ethical hackers, or like, okay, yeah, ethical hackers. Most of them ethical hackers, not
not
traders.
all of them.
No, 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 no.
How
I
about
mean,
the
not,
unethical ones? Come on.
no, I mean not
Okay.
traders. So ethical
Right.
hackers, they got their millions quite early in their 20s, and
Oh,
I think there is like also a problem in that because you're not getting through this like achievements and like natural self-development, self like maturing and you can kind of already in the stage where you're a millionaire. And I don't think it's good for a person to become millionaire that early, honestly, in terms of their like emotional intelligence, their communication skills and everything, because you're like literally spending time with your computer. And when you got this millions, like what are you going to do with that if you don't have friends, if you don't have like partners, family, and like whatever?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, but the problem is, I think, and you're probably statistically right. If you become very well off at an early age, but the truth of the matter is, in this industry, we're not known for our ability to socialize. A lot of us are considered people that are like, well, our asset is also our negative part of us. We were able to do such amazing things in technology, but we're not known for being the life of the party. Maybe me, but that's another story.
Yeah, I heard that you
Well,
were at every cocktail party.
Yeah,
You're the one.
but
well, I
but that's
think
the
I think
point. Yeah,
I
go
think it
ahead.
depends. I mean, a lot of it really, and this really has to go with not just technology people, but like athletes, you know, movie stars, entertainers, and everything who get very wealthy very young. I think a lot of it has to do with your upbringing, and not just in terms of did you grow up rich and you know how to handle money and know people, but you know, kind of having your head on right, you know, and not thinking like, oh, I'm the greatest thing in the world, or I don't have to listen to anyone. I'm above the law, or even the thing like I don't need to talk to anyone now. That's a sign of. I mean, there's a little bit of a stereotype, but that's also a sign of really not great mental health there. Someone who's quite like that, you know.
Expect much, because of course we're trying to categorize and filter people by, by age, by appearance, by something. But in this world where everything changing that fast, and the diversity of expertise and like cultures in crypto is like crazy, crazy big. And for example, in my team we have 30 nationalities, and
Wow.
it's really interesting to have this diversity in terms of mindset when it comes to security, because that's what you want to have. You want to have different opinions and different type of vulnerabilities, a way of thinking, because this business is that decentralized and global that you need to protect from every possible side.
It's interesting you say that because that's a Google mindset. Google's mindset is that diversity and diversification, both on every level, whether it's nationality, gender, sexual orientation, brings the diversity for creativity and being able to do things. But I think you have over 100 people working for you now, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Hundred
That's
people.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah.
got to tell you again, I'm really impressed by you at an early age, and there's also some jealousy and envy. And I'm envy. I wish I've done something like that, but at the same time, I applaud you. It's uh not an easy accomplishment, especially, and I know people are going to probably yell at me. I'm going to get hate mail for this, but when you're a woman, you're not really seen the same as you are as a man. But what I have seen lately is so much more women out there that are doing the same type of accomplishments you are in the technology. We've had a lot of women on there like, oh my God, like one woman funded her own organization and she's doing very well with incident response. Another woman became the CEO of another company. So it's really impressive because back in the day, if there was one woman in the room, you were surprised. Now it's like, forget it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, well, it depends. I mean, still in security, it is still really heavily skewed
Yes,
towards
still, but it's getting
men.
better. It's getting a way
It
better.
is getting better, a lot better.
And especially, so I always been in this kind of circles, because first I was in like traditional security, cybersecurity, and we always were like really few of us. Then when I switched,
You were in traditional cybersecurity. What, for a week? I mean, you started with crypto like so long ago.
for a couple of years, but then when I switched to Web3 security, it's like even smaller circle. But now we have like more female-led businesses in Web3 security. Probably I can count this on like onto my hands, but it's a way more progress than we had before.
That's the question I have for you, Ev. What got you from traditional cybersecurity, prompted you? woke up in your mind that said, I want to get into cryptocurrency?
I've always loved innovation and possibility to change and influence something. And when I learned about crypto in 2014 from my professor in university, and then I learned about Bitcoin from another guy who gave lectures in university, I thought like, okay, this is something cool. It's kind of not widely accepted. There's specific technology that might have potential and might not. A lot of people saying it was scam, it was a pyramid, or whatever. But I was fascinated by the technology itself, and then naturally it was curious, like how to break this technology, because I think the hacker is also about the mindset you have. It's either you do it in like everyday life or in your like computer programs, right? It's how you think. And for me, I was going through like um, let's get a normal cybersecurity like hacker, then to Web3 hacker. Now I run the business, so I do kind of growth hacking and trying to find the creative ways to solve the challenges that I have. And also recently I got interested into biohacking, which is kind of ways how to hack your body. So I think it's also about the mindset.
Okay, I was going to say curiosity. That's great.
Yeah,
Everyone be curious. And you know what one of the best ways to satisfy your curiosity is? You listen to podcasts and subscribe to them and like them and
Like
exactly.
which one,
follow
Joe?
them.
Which
You
one?
know,
Which one should they
like
listen
for
to?
example, I heard the Security Cocktail Hour is pretty good.
Yeah.
By
And
the
if
way,
you have questions, put them in the comments. It'll satisfy your curiosity.
where is cocktails in this podcast? I didn't get it.
Well,
It's
actually, I did pour a glass of wine, and we didn't usually get to it. I think that yeah, the drink was going to be you have said non-alcoholic wine, and I promise this is non-alcoholic. Absolutely,
well. So
maybe
so Joe's
don't hold
Joe
me
Joe
to it.
Joe came up with the idea that like after hearing some of the things that are going on, you're going to want to have a drink. So the whole premise of the security cocktail hour, for those who don't know, is basically a couple of people sitting behind a bar talking about security. So this is the virtual bar, this is the virtual drink. Well, it's a real drink, and this is us virtually talking at a bar. And you're more than welcome to go to a bar with us, and you can get orange juice, and we can hang out. But this is what we do. But now you got me curious, Yev. What have you done in biohacking?
Yeah. Okay, first let me pour my non-alcoholic wine. It's
Very
All
nice.
right, there we go.
zero, 0%.
Zero
Um,
percent. That's a selling point. I mean, I'd pick that up and say like, what the hell is this?
I think
Yeah,
it's a 0.5 usually in this kind of drinks because you can't like dealcoholize it like
I was
fully.
I was exactly going to say that. You know what? I'll tell you something. And I learned this recently.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. But I learned recently that I think they can say that like in Europe or something. They can put 0.0, but in the US, they're not allowed to say it actually has nothing because it has a little bit.
But some sugars
Or
are alcoholized no matter what.
yeah, or maybe it was the reverse. I don't know. Anyway, so
Well, she's not in the U.S. right now.
doesn't
I'm not gonna say
matter.
where she is, but
In an undisclosed location outside the US. All right.
Interesting that in New York I stopped by some wine shop and asked for non-alcoholic wine, and they said like, no, we say like sell only alcohol here. So non-alcoholic is only in supermarkets.
Yeah, of course. You see, that's a look.
Yeah, no,
Look
no.
at look in America. You go into the liquor store and ask for something non-alcoholic. They'll look at you like you have three heads. Like, did you not see the sign? You know.
well, there's times I've gone to a bar and I'm like, "Can I get a seltzer?" They're like, "Yeah, what do you want with it?" I'm like, "No, just a seltzer," because I'm not a big drinker, but
No, well, actually, we're fooling around a bit, but we should say, in places that sell beer, are typically the non-alcoholic beers and stuff. And if you go to a bar, if it's a good bar, you can get something non-alcoholic. It's not
yeah,
we're not all
yeah,
drunks and force people to drink in the
no, we're not.
U.S.
Absolutely, we respect
Not
everybody's
everyone in
choice.
Texas has a gun either. I mean, it's
But I still, I got to get to yeah, I got to know what biohacking is. When I was I didn't even want to say, yeah, so don't make fun of me, please, and don't call me old. Back in 1989, I was going to a community college, and that's when like viruses came out. And I did a presentation on viruses, and somebody says, can a human get a computer virus? And back then I laughed. But nowadays, you don't even know anymore about proteins and biohacking and whether or not your synapses is going to be able to transfer to electronic pulses to a human. You never know anymore. And this
Oh,
is, but wait,
oh,
Joe. Wait,
she
Joe.
says biohacking. I don't think it means like genetically
No,
engineering
no, no,
viruses and stuff. I mean,
I'm going off in a rant. So
oh,
I wrote an assignment the other day about emotional intelligence and AI and wellness and everything else. And I said, when the Wright brothers went to go fly a plane, everybody looked at them like, "What are you talking about? No one's ever going to fly." And I bet you, maybe not in my lifetime, there will be a consciousness with AI. But until that day, we find out what that means. And that's the whole conversation I had with my friend Peter yesterday. He goes, "This is something that you'll never experience in this universe. Either someone has to bring what consciousness is, that's another story. But biohacking, you still got me curious."
Okay. So, um, where to start? I was referring to mindset, and honestly, at some point of life, I thought like literally my body is a black box for me, and I don't know like how it works, what metrics it has, and how I can, how can I do it even with this anything. So first, what I at least adding a bit of consciousness to your physical body, because I know that we're like just using it, and then when it hurts, we do something. And honestly, I find it fascinating the connection between security and health. If we look at this, so we need to make a preventative measures for security, right? Not to make a breach happen. Same we should do for health. We need to prevent like any possible like diseases happening to us. And same as security, health is also a conscious process. You can't do it once and it's just done for forever, right? So at one point of time, I started thinking like how my body even works. Like, what is my source code? How can I fix it?
Yeah.
How can I influence it? And there is a guy, his name is Dave Asprey. He claimed himself to be a father of biohacking. He actually used to be a security engineer, and he started doing his biohacking journey like around 10 years ago or more. And it's like, okay, here's a clear kind of like connection. So you analyze your body and influence the metrics you want to influence, and trying to find the shortcuts, backdoors, how to make your body recover better, stay younger, be more active, and stuff like this.
When you read your book, Joe, we had somebody that spoke not exactly about that, about the throughput in your brain and how things are manipulated and how kids are being influenced by social
well,
media.
yes, yeah, that was
Yeah,
interesting. But
that was it. Yeah.
well, I'll tell you this as someone with a few more miles on this body than you have. That's great, and starting to take care of your health and worrying about it when you're young is very good. And we've talked about it before too, especially mental health. There is a real there've been a lot of issues in mental health and security, and I like to think it's getting better, but it's still there. But you know what? Before you go hack too much and listen to the ex security guy, I don't know what he says and everything, but remember, we do have doctors who know a lot about how your body works who can help you with that too.
But I think Yev is more reflecting on the mental part of it and how that transfers to, like, what can you do in your mind in order to, maybe you need to meditate in order to make sure before you do something that you don't put yourself and you lower the vulnerability to certain things. That's, I think, what she's talking about. And it's funny, Yev, shameless plug. uh, Government Tech Con. I'm going to be on a panel about mental health and security people. So that's coming up in September. I don't know if this podcast will come out before that, but people can rewatch it. But I'm going to be
I
on a panel.
I thought you were talking about drone hacking. No, it's
No, no,
mental health.
not at Government Tech Con. I'm on 6 panels. One
You're
of them,
like six. Oh, you see, I'm losing track. You're so
Joe.
busy.
I am so important in my own mind. It's insane. If I had the amount of
Seriously.
money about how important I was in real life, I'd be broke. Wait, I am broke. Okay, it's all good.
Yeah, really. Okay.
Honestly, so what I found the most fascinating throughout this journey is getting kind of my source code. So I did a DNA test where they showed me different enzymes and pathways, how it all come together and how different elements absorb in my body or doesn't absorb. And it was like, oh wow. Because like everyone takes just like vitamin C, vitamin B, wherever, just take vitamins or supplements to, feel better. But we don't take it based on the like how it's called, the features of our body. And when I got this test, it was like a big diagram with all these pathways and different colors. It's like it was a kind of algorithm, right? What works and what doesn't. This like blood tests and different DNA tests helps you to understand your body and understand the algorithm, how your body works. And in this way, when you know the algorithm, you can find the shortcuts to what you need to fix.
Okay, well, you know what? My algorithmic expert, my doctor, keeps telling me to drink less, but that it hasn't seemed to take for some reason. I don't know, but
Well, for me, Joe, like I go every 3 months for blood tests, and they're constantly analyzing my blood, constantly.
yeah.
Like, what do you have for this? What do you have for that? So unfortunately, I'm not biohacking my body. Listening to them about taking potassium citrate to stop this and taking this to stop that. It's just the way it is. But every 3 months, I go for a blood test. So it is what
Okay,
it is, Joe. I guess you're
that's right.
biohacking in a way because these doctors want to make sure you supplement one thing or decrease something else.
Well, I go to the doctor. I got to go this week for my physical, whatever. Always tells me the same thing. Always the same thing. Lose weight, don't drink so much, whatever. That'll be $400. I'm like, thank you. That's real helpful. So
It's
anyway,
a good recommendation, but how to implement this is totally another topic. But what you talked about, Adam, regarding the like gene editing and like body replacement and freezing bodies to find the cure for the disease that we have now and the future, it's also a big topic in like longevity and people and scientists working on that. There is first labs and companies that do gene editing, but on the like legal level in many countries it's prohibited. You
Yes.
need to go to other countries, so it's like still experimental. Probably like in 10 years or something we'll have more of that possible, but still it's not a much solved
And
question.
so my
well,
family, go ahead.
I'll tell you, I want to get frozen because
Really?
and maybe they were. Look, you got nothing to lose. You're already dead, right?
Yeah, I don't want to
You
live
got
longer
nothing to
than
lose, even if you got a
no,
slim chance.
no,
So what?
no, Joe. I don't
Come
want to wake
on.
up. I don't want to wake up 100 years to meet my great grandchildren.
Oh, it's interesting. I met one guy. He runs the company that like freezes bodies,
Oh,
and
cool.
he frees not only people but also pets. To be
Yeah,
when you wake up, you still have someone like close to you. So
That's
they freeze both people and pets.
well, that's a bit much. Personally, I'm waiting for my cats to die. They drive me crazy. They're not getting frozen.
I don't when it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go from this world. But from a standpoint, I'll still go to my doctors and I'll still have them analyze my blood and see what medications and drugs because like everybody else, everybody has these risk factors, whether you're Jewish or you're black, sickle cell anemia versus the different things. We all have traits based on our religion and our. I know religion sounds weird because of the religion where you're from, uh, we all have these traits in our blood that bring up diseases. So sometimes it's good to analyze it, but I got to tell you, yeah, I'm scared to ever do any of these genealogy things because I don't want that stuff to get out there with those DNA markers.
Well, I think that we're going to end on this note of I don't know how we got from crypto to all this, but
Well,
take
hacking.
care of yourself. Do what works for you. It is important to do that. Your health is
Yeah.
important.
It's important to invest both in your health and your security to be a resilient person and build resilient systems.
That's right.
Yeah, I want to back up.
So don't protect your keys by like putting them on a thumb drive and swallowing them. That's a very bad thing to do. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks so much for joining. This was great because we joke about not being up to date, but we really did learn a lot. This is interesting, and it is what you're doing is a a new and really important high stakes application of security. There's
Thank
real
you.
money at stake here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Adam. You're like really have a great sense of humor. I like it.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. All right. And thanks everyone for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.